La quinta parte de la prueba lectiva, Reading and Use of English, del examen de First Certificate de Cambridge, pues se ve así, como dije en la miniatura, long text, un texto largo de varios párrafos. Vamos entonces a leer las instrucciones. You are going to read an article about new technology, and students, for questions 1 to 6, choose the answer A, B, C or D, which you think fits best according to the text, ¿vale? Entonces leemos este texto que tenemos y luego tendremos que contestar a 6 preguntas que tienen opciones A, B, C o D. Son preguntas de comprensión para ver qué tal habéis entendido el texto. Vale, entonces vamos a leer Student Life and Technology by Deborah Morlin, a business student at Greyfort University. Last Saturday, as my grandfather drove me and my sister home from a dinner to celebrate his birthday, he got frustrated at not being able to remember the name of the singer of a song he'd just heard on the radio. Without a second thought, I grabbed my smartphone, searched for the song, and found the name, Bob Dylan. For me and my friends, this is a completely natural course of action. But it totally astonished my grandfather, who didn't understand how I had checked the information so quickly. My sister and I laughed and explained, but afterwards it made me think about how much I depend on technology. The list of ways I use technology is endless. Writing, planning, socializing, communicating, and shopping, to name a few. When I reflected on its impact on my education, I saw that, for my fellow students and I, technology has been significant in many ways. Returning to the story of my grandfather and the smartphone, he had asked me more about how I used it and about university life. He said he thought we had an easy life compared to previous generations. My sister caught my eye and we exchanged a smile. But whereas she was thinking our grandfather was just being a typical 65-year-old, I could see his point. Not only are we lucky enough to have the same educational benefits as those of previous generations, we have so many more as well. We still have walk-in libraries available to us, and I can see why some students choose to find and use resources in these distraction-free locations. However, the only option for studying used to be sitting in these libraries with as many books from your reading list as you could find. Yet now a single search for your chosen study topic online can immediately provide access to a huge range of resources. At universities, interaction between students and university staff is another area that has changed considerably with developments in technology. We can have face-to-face time with our tutor when we need it, and also communicate using our electronic gadgets from the comfort of our homes or on the bus. The most popular means of doing this is via instant messaging or social media. Email is often considered too slow, and it has become unacceptable for messages to be unanswered for any length of time. While this puts an extra strain on the university's academic support team, who usually have to answer the queries as they come in, we students are greatly benefited. It's important that we remember to appreciate how much the advances in technology have given us. Electronic devices such as tablets, smartphones and laptops are now standard equipment in most classrooms and lecture halls. And why shouldn't they be? The replacement of textbooks with tablets allows students the luxury of having up-to-date, interactive and even personalized learning materials with the added benefit of them not costing the earth. When we compare the student life of the past and that of the present day, it is tempting to focus on the obvious differences when it comes to technology. In actual fact, students are doing what they've always done, embracing the resources available and adapting them in a way which allows them to work more efficiently and to live more enjoyably. The pace of change in technology continuously gathers speed, so we have to value each innovation as it happens. Vamos entonces con las preguntas. Toda esta sección, tanto las preguntas como las posibles respuestas y la explicación de cómo llegué a las respuestas correctas, lo voy a decir todo exclusivamente en inglés. Entonces, si tenéis alguna duda, me dejáis un comentario en el vídeo. ¿Vale? Bien. Number 1. What does the writer illustrate by describing the incident in the car? A. The older generation's frustration at people's dependence on technology. B. How unaware young people are of some effects of technology. C. The difference in attitudes to technology between two generations. Or D. How technology helps different generations communicate. The answer is in the first paragraph when the writer explains how she grabbed her smartphone and searched for the song and found the name. And she says that for her and her friends, this is a completely natural course of action, but it totally astonished her grandfather, who didn't understand how she had checked the information so quickly. So what we can see is there is a big contrast between people her age and people of the age of her grandfather. So therefore the answer is C. The difference in attitudes to technology between two generations. That is why the writer tells us about the incident in the car. Okay, question number 2. What did the writer think of her grandfather's comment mentioned in the second paragraph? A. It showed how out of date he was. B. It had an element of truth in it. C. It was an annoying thing to say. Or D. It made her feel sorry for him. Well, as mentioned in the question, we can find the answer in paragraph 2. So first of all, we need to find what was the comment that the grandfather made, and we can see it here. He said he thought we had an easy life compared to previous generations, and then right at the end of the paragraph, he says, I could see his point, which means I understand what he is trying to say. So, looking at the possible answers again, what did the writer think of her grandfather's comments? Well, it would be B. It had an element of truth in it. She could see his point. Okay, so question number 3. What does the writer say about getting study resources from libraries? A. She considers libraries more preferable places for study than home. B. She cannot understand why anyone chooses to go to a library now. C. She appreciates the fact that people can still study in libraries if they want to. Or D. She thinks libraries are limited by the quantity of resources they can store. So the answer here is a little bit more difficult because I think it's in 2 sentences. We can see the one answer. So she starts the paragraph by saying, not only are we lucky enough to have the same educational benefits as those of previous generations, so she says that we are lucky now to have the same things as people had in the past. And then in the next sentence, she says, we still have walk-in libraries available to us. And that is the example that she is using to show what resources we still have available to ourselves and for which we should feel lucky. So the answer to number 3 would be C. She appreciates the fact that people can still study in libraries if they want to. Question 4. What disadvantage of new technology does the writer mention in the third paragraph? A. Those who can afford the best gadgets gain an unfair advantage. B. Sometimes slow internet connections can make communication difficult. C. A heavier workload is created for teaching staff at the university. Or D. Students cannot escape from dealing with university issues. Again, the answer here is a little bit complicated as again it is in two parts. So basically the problem mentioned, the disadvantage mentioned, is partly because it is now unacceptable for messages to be unanswered for any length of time. Now the messages are coming from the students to the tutors, so she goes on to say this puts an extra strain on the university's academic support team, who have to answer the queries as they come in. The students are greatly benefited, she says, so the problem is for the people working at the university. They now have more work to do. So the answer here is C. The disadvantage mentioned is that there is a heavier workload. There is more work being created for teaching staff at the university. Question 5. What is the purpose of the question, why shouldn't they be, in the fourth paragraph? A. To express an opinion. B. To introduce some problems. C. To make a criticism. Or D. To indicate uncertainty. So let's have a look at the context of this rhetorical question. It says, why shouldn't they be? Well, this comes at the end of a longer sentence which says, electronic devices such as tablets, smartphones, and laptops are now standard equipment in most classrooms and lecture halls. And why shouldn't they be? So this rhetorical question shows the reader that this is a good thing, that replacing books with tablets and smartphones is not a negative thing, that there is nothing negative to say about it. Why not? Why shouldn't that happen? So the answer is A, to express an opinion. It's a question, but it's a rhetorical question. Why shouldn't they be? She is suggesting that she thinks there is no reason why we shouldn't have modern technology in the classroom. It's her personal opinion. The final question, number 6, what is the writer's conclusion about students today in the final paragraph? A, they have such different lives to previous generations that it's unwise to compare them. B, they deal better with change than previous generations did. C, they take advantage of new resources more quickly than previous generations did. Or D, they are behaving in a similar way to previous generations of students. Well, in the final paragraph, the writer says that when we compare the student life of the past and the present day, it is tempting to focus on the differences, but in actual fact, students are doing what they have always done. So she is saying that they are more similar than we think, students of the past and students of the present day. She says that both are just embracing the resources available and adapting them in ways which allow them to make them to work more efficiently and to live more enjoyably. So she believes that students today are behaving in a similar way to previous generations of students.
Pues ese es el ejercicio del examen que hemos terminado, pero nos queda una actividad más, es una más corta, vamos a verla.
Complete the sentences with a phrase, use one word from each box for each phrase. Entonces tenemos que escoger una palabra de cada recuadro para formar, pues eso, como un sustantivo compuesto de dos palabras o una expresión, digamos, para completar estas frases. Es muy fácil. Si queréis pausar el vídeo aquí, genial. Si no, yo voy a pasar directamente a leer las respuestas correctas. O sea que, vamos. Number 1. Google is the most used search engine in the world. 2. I don't text my friends anymore because instant messaging is so much faster. 3. How much storage space is left on the hard drive in your PC? Number 4. If you don't back up your work, you are in danger of losing it. Number 5. The car's high-tech steering system is unique. Number 6. Play the interactive games on our website to learn more about science and technology. Number 7. Virtual reality makes you feel as if you are in a real three-dimensional space. Number 8. By using social media like Twitter, you can communicate with anyone on the internet. Bueno, pues como ya dije, si tenéis algún problema con lo que visteis en el vídeo, me dejáis un comentario. Goodbye.